wir sind unterwegs oder beziehungsweise ich bin unterwegs, werde gefahren nach Frankfurt zum Buffy-Treffen. Ich habe mir gesagt, ich halte es mal so ein bisschen für euch fest. Ich habe heute versucht, ein bisschen wie Buffy auszusehen, aber naja, man braucht wahrscheinlich einfach auch blonde Haare. Ja, bis dann.
Da war aber nicht mehr so rum. Okay, so please welcome James Marsters, alias.
I was in doubt backstage, but I'm a good person. I feel
You are loved. Hello. Okay.
We each get one of these.
Oh, look at that.
Share.
Hey, so what an intimate, nice group we have here. I like it.
Well,
My
these chairs are
chair
like
is
a running bag a little bit. Oh, yeah. There's no bar to hang on to. So.
Hold on.
Nice. Hey, number one.
Hello. What did you have for breakfast?
Oh, you're good. Because I just said the things. I had a good German breakfast, man. I had soft-boiled eggs and a lot of sausage and bacon, and a roll with a little tomato and cucumber.
Awesome. That's a real question. The first question for my daughter, Daniela, she wants to know, have you a pet? And it's a dog, it's a cat, and what's name and how old?
Do I have a pet? Yes.
You have a pet.
Yes. We have a family cat.
Oh.
Named Monkey. And my wife found the scroungiest, ugliest little kitten that I think is of a low intelligence compared to other cats. Because it took a long time for the cat to learn how to walk or clean itself, or it was, and for so long I was just like, honey, what have you done to us? Like, why did you pick this horrible obscenity of a cat? Really ugly, stinky cat. But yeah, but the thing is now the cat's older and the cat's figured out how to walk and how to clean itself and all, and it's a cuddle monster. It's more like a dog. It's like a puppy. Okay. It just wants to come up to you and lay in your lap and get attention, and it doesn't have the whole cat, like F you kind of thing at all. It's a perfect cat. Yeah, well, I found the perfect cat.
Can you tell us the most amazing things that happened in your life, touching moments?
What are the most amazing things that's ever happened in my life?
Or touching moments?
Wow. Okay. I got beat up a lot. I used to live in really poor neighborhoods in big cities, so I've been hit with a lot of different implements, like brass knuckles and pipes and stuff. No, the best thing that ever happened in my life so far would really be the birth of my son. Like, I'm like a person. I'm a dad, you know, and if you don't feel that way, you're not really awake, probably.
I think the most important.
My question is about season 7 of Buffy. Okay, so I thought you were amazing in every season of Buffy, even the ones you weren't in. I thought you were particularly amazing in season 7. I thought you blew it out of the water. But I wanted to ask, so at the start of season 7, Spike is like, he's crazy, he's out of his head, and I wondered, like, he's so different and broken to the other seasons, and I wondered, how was that different to playing him normally? How did you prepare yourself for that?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was in this period that I figured out, let's see, how do I say this? Like in stage, for stage acting, you pretty much put the character on like a coat. So like a stage actor would say, how does the character walk? And you would experiment with different rhythms. How does the character talk? And it would experiment with different speeds and it would all be kind of a technical experiment. In film, is completely different. In film, you have to convince yourself that you are that character. And there's all sorts of tricks that you do to get yourself in the real mental state of the character. And it's called the method act. And I realized how dangerous the method was for television. Because with a film, you can go in, and then 3 months later, you come out. But in television, you go in and you stay there for months and months and months and months and months. And so when I was going insane, my character was going insane because basically Spike was being visited by all the ghosts of the people that he killed. And they would just hang out with him and say, so, you cut my neck, you know, how do you, thank you, because my mother was really loving, and he would have to have conversations with these people constantly. And it was making him feel bad because he has a soul now. And so what I did is I said, I have to think about everything that I feel guilty for. Any act that I did or didn't do in my past, I have to just beat myself up with it all day long.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. I literally kind of went crazy. I really did. And it wasn't fun at all. It worked. I mean, like I watched that stuff, I'm like, wow, that guy's insane. But I did notice that it was probably not, like no therapist would tell you to do that. You know? This is not healthy to do. It's not good for long-term happiness, which I think is why some actors are not that happy. But I got out, you know. Therapy.
I have one more question, and just keep in mind you did say we were to try and embarrass you. So there's a rumor going around that when you had to do these like semi-nude scenes that Sarah Michelle Gellar used to mess with your sock. Is that true?
No. She would mess with me in other ways. Like, she agreed to do all of these, for the time, they were really graphic. Like, nothing had been done that was that wild for television ever before. Now it's like nothing. Like Game of Thrones. Like, there's a channel for that, you know? There's a site you can go to for that. Anyway. But Sarah said, okay, I'll do these scenes, but I'm not going to expose any part of my body to do it. If you want nudity, have Spike do that. So I didn't have the power. They didn't even ask me. And so they had me like naked with just a sock. And she would come to set and she'd be like, James, I have a blouse and a coat and another coat. How do you like that? Ooh, I have a muffler today. I have a hat and gloves too. Haha. And she would do that to me.
Just during that scene yourself, did you think, my God, I am the awesomest guy who ever awesomed?
No, that's a good question. No, the weird thing is that if you think I am awesome right now, you'll start doing this. You'll start to look egotistical, and you won't have that, because the audience really responds to vulnerability, to the messiness, to humanness, you know? Like, I don't think that the audience is looking for someone that is cooler than they are. They're looking for someone who is like them. And I really believe this, that the audience is wanting you not to lie. Most of all. The audience wants to be able to study someone. Like if I really study you, like as if I'm watching you on a movie,
you're probably more cooler than me, though, Jen. Most people are.
Well, I don't know. But the thing is, like, so my experience was terror most of the time, because when you do a play or a movie, you can read the script beforehand, and you can decide if you want to do that thing, if you can give that, or if you really want to reveal that part of yourself. And sometimes the answer is no. It's like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go through that journey right now. I pass on the script. And I've done that many times. In television, once you have read one script, which is the pilot, you pretty much know what you're going to be asked to do every week, because frankly, most television is really boring, and it's the same kind of thing every week. But when you work with Joss Whedon, you have no idea what is going to come down the pipes. And at first it's exciting, but at some point, it got to be terrifying. And I realized that he was going to make me do things that I was really uncomfortable having to do. And I had to do it. And I had to go there. I had to go insane. He was asking me, I really want you to go crazy for half a season. And do other things. So I was really feeling, most of the time, pretty vulnerable. I mean, like, in the beginning, when I was playing, you know, the psychotic vampire who has doesn't care about ripping people in half, you know, that was great. You know, ah, great. But as soon as Joss actually started exploring him more deeply, because it's Joss, it was all about insecurity and pain and all of that stuff, and that was real. So I wasn't really thinking in terms of I'm becoming an icon or anything like that. That was really happening on the other side of the screen.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. And like Joss actually said, like everybody would always try to guess what Joss was going to do in the next episode, or the next few episodes. That was the game. And I always got it right. And Joss got mad. He's like, you're the only one! How do you do that? And I'm like, Joss, it's really simple. You just take what a normally good writer would do, and then do exactly the opposite thing. And make it work really well. And that's how you tell what you do. He's like, that's my secret. I kind of like, I'm good with structure, and I feel like I understand character and all of this stuff. So I would always give him my ideas, and Joss would always say the same thing. He would go, James, that's kind of brilliant. That's really good. And then there's me. Wow, the best scene. I remember I really enjoyed beating up Angel on Angel. And this is so embarrassing to admit. Okay, when I was on Buffy, right, I got to be friends with Juliet Landau. And I remember going over, and I was with another woman. I had a girlfriend at the time. And we went over to Juliet's to watch the show one evening. And during the show, Juliet sometimes would come and whisper in my ear, like, oh, this is the part we filmed in, you know, they got that, or, oh, I don't think I was so good in this scene, or whatever the thing was, but she was whispering in my ear. And sometimes I would go whisper in her. And it was obvious that we were kind of friends. And this got my girlfriend really jealous. Just really. And so to get me back, she later admitted to me that she told me that she had a crush on David. So then immediately I hated David Boreanaz. And so like when you see Spike like being really competitive with Angel and really not liking that at all, that's real. That is absolutely not acting at all. And this is my shame. This is me as a stupid fool. David was kind to me from the very beginning. I remember him telling me, he'd say, you're gonna have a big trailer next year. Like last year I was in these little trailers. Next year you're gonna be over here with us, I know it. And he'd give me pointers. He's always been so nice to me. And it took me years to realize that. I was so mired in jealousy that I hated him. But God, it was good to beat him up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He sent, usually they'll drop off a script to let you know what's happening in the next episode. But in this one time, they didn't drop off a script. It was a cassette tape.
I mean, it's really hard to say because I know what's happened in the comics, and I know that Joss said if there is a movie, it's not going to be based on the comics. It's just kind of his way of kind of telling the story still. But I don't know. Maybe like working as a circus clown, like all in a big regalia, wearing a suit made out of cheese. Maybe you're gonna do a little thing. dime. I know messy. Yum. Cheese. Maybe a new look. Maybe a new love? Yeah, I mean, I want Xander to have as much love as possible.
Or that his ego had gone crazy. And we really thought that he was destroying the show, and he was going to burn all of our careers along with his in this episode. And which, I mean, nobody was doing, you don't do that. You don't do a musical episode. It was such a risk that until you see it, and you see it's really good, you think, I mean, we weren't stupid for thinking that this was probably not going to work. And the other thing is that the only people that were professionally singing in the cast at the time were me and Tony Head. Everyone else had no experience whatsoever singing and getting paid for it. Like, it's one thing to be at a party or in the shower and someone tells you you have a nice voice. It's another thing for someone to lay money out for something that you do. It's a whole different level. And so a lot of the actors were saying to Joss, and they had a really good point, like, I got hired as a dramatic, comedic actor for you. That's what I do. That's why I got a job. Now you're asking me to sing. Why don't you ask me to juggle a chainsaw? I would prefer to do that. It would be better for my career if I cut my hand off than if I... Seriously, you know? And so, and he was just like, nope, I'm gonna make you do it, haha. And we're like, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you take a role, and why don't you do it in front of everybody and be a fool? And he's like, no, I'll be directing that. And so, one of the reasons that is my favorite episode is that at some point, we all realized that we couldn't talk Joss out of this. That he really was not going to be talked out of it. And we stopped whining, and we stopped complaining, and we stopped fearing, and we got to work. And everyone started hiring vocal coaches and dance coaches on their own dime. And this is in the two episodes previous to the start of the filming, and everyone started rehearsing, and we got to work. And in the face of sheer doom, certain defeat, we tried our best. We said, if we're going to go out, we're going to go out swinging. And I've never been more proud of us than those moments when we knew we would fail and we weren't going to give up anyway. And then Joss, we were filming, and he wheels out a little television set onto the soundstage, and he had the first thing that he filmed was the dance with Anya and Xander.
Yeah.
That thing. And he cut it together in a rough cut, and he wanted to show us that it wasn't going to suck. And he said, here's the first scene, and it was glorious. It was so good. And we all were like, this is gonna be great. You know, like, and so it flipped, and all of a sudden we were working on something that was going to work. But I was more proud of us when we were sure that we were going to fail. We were still trying. And we had so much fun by the end of it that when Tabula Rasa, I still can't say that. Tabula Rasa, it's so hard. When we were doing that, we didn't realize that it was probably one of the best shows in the whole run. One of the most imaginative, because there's no music. We were like, this is boring. Where's the music? Where's Hilton Battle, man? Like, let's do a musical again. And we thought it was boring, and it wasn't until the very end of the shoot that we started saying, wait a minute, this is actually a really good script. Yeah, but that, two back-to-back, I agree, just fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm learning the song again because when we raised money for the short film, I promised fans that I would sing this online, and I haven't learned it yet. Let me rest in peace, let me get some sleep, let me take my love and bury it in a hole 6 foot deep. I can lay my body down, but I can't find no sweet release. Let me rest in peace. Bloopers are coming from a short film that Joss would edit every year for the cast party at the end of the year. And that's where they always are coming from, by the way, on the shows. So I remember I was never on these. I'm never on them. And I finally went up to Joss. I was like, Joss, what, you don't like me? What is it? He goes, James, I'm sorry, you're boring. He said, like when I say action, it's like I'm letting a tiger out of a cage, but as soon as I say cut, you do the same thing. Every take. You do this. You look down to make sure you're on your mark, and you walk calmly back to your seat, you take out your lines, and you study them. That's all you ever do, every single time. I'm like, yeah, that's called professional acting. But that's all I did, so I'm not on the blooper reel, so yeah. I was serious about it. Yeah. You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Karen.
Hey.
Several times you said that you tried to talk Joss Whedon out of something, and that we're reluctant to do something maybe with a musical show, felt uncomfortable or something like that. Were you ever successful? Is the first. Is there anything we missed because of you? No. Okay. And the second question is.
By the way, that was the only time anyone tried to talk him out of it. I never talked him out of it. I never tried.
Oh, okay.
And I was terrified. But the thing is, artistically, you don't want to feel comfortable. If you're comfortable as an artist, you're probably not doing your best work. You really want to be out of your comfort zone. And so it didn't feel good, but it was gold to be that uncomfortable.
Okay. Okay, with the uncomfortable thing. What was your first reaction to seeing Red?
Is that the one with the bathrooms?
Yeah. This is my first fan meet. I'm sorry if you have been asked that so often.
No, I'm really glad that you asked that question, because that I think was the one mistake that we made. This is the thing. The trick to writing Buffy for the screenwriters was that Joss asked the screenwriters, I want you to tell me about your worst day. The day that you were humiliated, the day that almost made you commit suicide, the day that you hurt somebody for no good reason, the day that you regret, the day that keeps you up at night. I want you to write a script about that. And I want you to write it as honestly as you can, but then slap fangs on the top of it so no one really understands that it's real. So the writers were being asked to do something very brave and something very vulnerable every week. They would literally come down to the set, and I would be like, great script, man! And they'd be like, you don't know, I hope that you don't understand how close this is to me. And I think that that's, to some degree, why Buffy is such a good show, because it was so brave in that way. One of the female writers had an experience that took her a long time to talk about. And it happened to her, I think, in college or whatever. And she had a boyfriend who broke up with her. And she thought if they only made love one more time, it would all be fixed. So she went over to his house and really threw herself on him. Like, really aggressively threw herself on him. To the point where he said, enough! And pushed her off. And that was the end of it. And she thought was one of the most painful experiences of her life. And when the thought came up about what happens when Buffy breaks up with Spike, what's going to happen then, she had this idea. She said, well, since Buffy is a superhero, she had the same ability that the guy had with me, just to push her off. So we should do that. And some of the writers were like, oh God, that's kind of a rape scene now. But the thought was, no, it's not, because Buffy's a superhero, so she can protect herself very easily from that. But see, what I think is that when you're watching Buffy, you are Buffy. It's the vicarious experience that every storyteller tries to get. Whenever you watch a movie, you're supposed to feel like you are the lead, right? Like when I watched Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, right? I'm watching the movie, and he's telling his daughter, I will come back, right? Now, I've told my daughter that so many times. I told her before I came here, I'll be back. And so at that moment I connected with Matthew McConaughey. And not only was I like Matthew McConaughey, now I was Matthew McConaughey. And now I was going to space and it was exciting, right? And that's how it works. That's how storytelling works. And so, so it's inevitable that anybody, male or female, when you're watching Buffy, you are Buffy. And so you were, the audience was getting, that was being done to the audience. And the audience is not superheroes. The audience might have more of a trouble pushing off like that. And so I was feeling like maybe in this instance it was not a good idea. And I remember coming to set, and it was the idea of a female, but the person who actually wrote the dialogue was Steve DeKnight. And I remember going to the set and just looking at Steve and saying, dude, you do not understand what you do to us. You write this stuff, but we have to live it. And he was kind of confused. And we started filming the scene, and the first shot of me was me just coming through the door, but I was so freaked out already by having to do it. Like, I cannot watch a scene like that, like a rape scene. I can't watch it on TV, on movies. If I know that a scene is like that in a movie, I won't go. If it comes up on television, I'll turn it off. If a role comes down to audition for that involves that, I just pass on it. I do not want to walk through that experience on either side of it. But I was forced, like I was contracted to do it, so I had to do it. And so I was freaked out, and they call action, and I'm like, hi, but, and this old hurt in my neck, a whiplash in my neck, just popped off. And I just literally went, and fell down to the floor like a marionette with the strings cut off. And Sarah was just like, what? Oh my God. And everyone was concerned for a little bit, but I got back on my feet. And you know, it was one of the hardest days of my life. It was the worst day of my professional life. By the end of it, I was in the fetal position in the floor of the set on the concrete, just shaking. It was not easy to do. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, hopefully it all makes sense within the whole show. Maybe there is something in that scene that is useful. But in general, I will say, I'll take that. Like, if I'm going to be on a show that's brave, that is scaring me, that's making me feel uncomfortable, that is challenging the audience, if the payment for that is to have to do a scene like that, yeah, I'll take that. It's worth it. But I wish I didn't. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this is where it gets boring. Seriously. The truth. I mean, like, I could say something snarky and funny or whatever, but I think it's better to know the truth. The truth is, I don't know. The truth is that when you film a kiss on film, it's not a real kiss. Like, if you videotape someone really kissing someone else passionately, it looks so gross. It's like, really, it's not good at all. And so, the other thing is that when you're shooting with another actor and the camera is on them, the person with their back to the camera has a big job to do, which is all about don't get in the light of the close-up, right? And the closer you are to the other character, the harder that gets to do. To be acting with them and kind of being natural and moving your head and not ruin the light. So when you're actually face to face and starting to kiss, it gets monumentally complex to get that. And so it's a very technical process, and I remember the first time Sarah and I kissed was when it was actually Faith in Buffy's body, right? But it was, and I think we had to take that 14 times, right? Because I'm a method actor, and I'm in love with Buffy, and I've been loving her for a long time. I finally get to kiss her, and so I'm into it. Like Sarah, in real life, I really thought like Sarah was my younger sister who drove me crazy sometimes, but anyway. But once they say action, I'm Spike, and I'm in love with Buffy. And so I was into it, and Sarah just kept saying, James, no acting, this is a technical thing. And then finally, after 14 times, I got so tired that I didn't care anymore. And they were like, this is great! Oh, it's so romantic, it's wonderful! You're such a good screen kisser. And yeah, so the truth is, yeah. With respect to John, I love John. God, I love John so much. John, like me, comes from stage, and that day, like, we got to kiss each other, but then we got to fight. And that's what we were looking forward to, because, again, on stage, you don't get a stuntman. So both of us are well-trained, and we were playing the game of, can we not let the stunt crew on the set today? Can we take the whole fight? And we almost got it. There was one shot that they demanded to have the stunt people do. But we fought for every shot, and it was so delicious. Jasmine, my wife now, my fiance then, she directed the kiss between John and I. She was on a bar stool 5 feet away, and John and I would kiss each other, and we'd turn to Jasmine and go, "How was that?" And she'd be like, "Oh, that was good. But I think you need another take." And I learned something. I had no idea before that day that women like guy on guy. I didn't know. I thought it was just us guys. So, okay, all right. I don't know what that says about human sexuality, but okay. And yeah, the director, the actual director, was in Video Village, like 20 feet away, laughing, falling off his chair, and saying, "Let her direct it! Oh my God!" And the only other thing I'll say is that I learned one more thing kissing John Barrowman is that when you're a guy and you want to be kissed, shave. Shave well, get a new blade in there and do it right because it hurts. Guys, it's not nice. And I'm terrible because I'm an actor, so if I'm not being filmed, I don't like to put the hair gel in and shave perfectly and wear nice clothes. Like, I just want to just throw on anything, not shave. But to my credit, I don't expect my wife to kiss me at that point. So yeah, so seriously, but if you then learn that and then you shave closely and you go in for the kiss, the woman's like, "Oh, thank you," you know, and so there's an extra like appreciation, hopefully.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Play the bad character. I mean, it's just fun. You get to do a lot of things. You get to, like, you know, kill people. I mean, we all want to kill people sometimes, no? And then, you know, with the scene, I get to, like, use the pan cooking spray and, like, light the guy on fire and torture him, and then you don't get in trouble, and it's kind of nice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi.
One of my most favorite episodes is Who Are You? When you and Buffy switch the bodies. So I want to know, did you and Sarah sit there and say, okay, I'm doing this, you're doing that, or how did you play this? Because you both have a body language on the scene of Buffy or Faith, so I wanted to know how you did that.
We never talked to each other once about it. We both got the script, and I think like a little secret competition began.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. Like, we went out into our trailers, and we're like, how are we going to? And I personally just, you know, asked the producers to give me a couple of episodes, and there were certain scenes I would watch over and over, and yeah, and then we just got to go have fun on set, and it was a good indicator of if we had done something good. Because the whole crew would, like, you could just see in their faces, like, oh yeah, you got that little thing.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't see it. When you love Buffy, you know every character, and these 2 episodes are so great. So thank you to you.
Thanks. She got to have a lot of fun as me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was. Thank you.
So, I was completely naked. And it was cold. So it looked like I had a vagina.
My question is for you. Of course, you mentioned it, of course. The vampire and you in season 3, I think, was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And my question with you is, how is to be in 7 seasons just a big brother for Buffy? How is it like to be just a big brother, the man who always cares for Laurel, for Buffy, for Willow, for Tara? How is it like to be 7 seasons, just be that one guy that just that does.
Well, I think it was obviously it was great, but also I think he wanted to have more sex too at some point.
He had Anya.
He did have Anya, but I think he wanted to have sex with more people. And then so I guess also kind of like back to the John thing. like she was like my sister. So that's kind of weird that Xander and Dawn are together. I mean, I'm not really into incest. I'm not really a big fan of it. But yeah, no, it was such a blessing to be a part of that show for the 7 years. But I remember there was a time, I think it was in Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, and when I cast that spell, I remember there was a scene that they were shooting, and I was called to set because my scene in the hallway was next up. So I was kind of like sitting by the lockers, and all the girls were like talking shit about Xander, and like Nikki I was getting my feelings hurt because I'm like Xander and myself, we were so close that when people talk shit about Xander, I felt like they're talking shit about me. So yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure I answered the question.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Tanya.
Hi Tanya. I'm Nikki.
Great.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. In one episode, you make all the girls crush on you.
Yeah.
If
You got this.
yeah, one moment. If someone will come to you and ask you to make you this,
To get all the girls to like me?
yes, in real life, would you do it? Or?
Wait, that's not the case. Wait. No. You know, because there is too much of a good thing. And I would like to know that a girl likes me for me. You know? Not because, yes, I would, 100%. I would do it. I would, screw that. Anyway, yes, I know. I would do it, and then I would want to undo it, just like Xander did, I think. Would you do it to make all people like you?
No.
There's an old episode of The Twilight Zone, where there's this guy, and he ends up in this place, and he's like, he can't lose at pool, and like all the women love him, and he realized at the end of the episode, he's died, and he's gone to hell, and that's his hell. That everything he gets, he wants, and by the end of the episode, he's going crazy because he just wants someone to say no, or he just wants to not be able to hit that shot. So there is too much of a good thing. Balance. It's all about balance. If you take one thing away from this Q&A, balance.
And I want to know if you and Alison and Sarah are still in contact or still meeting up or something like that.
Yeah, we still see each other. I mean, Sarah moved to New York, so it's a lot harder, but for some reason, every time Sarah's in town, because I live in Venice Beach, and so whenever she's in town, she just ends up in Santa Monica, and I just always kind of run into her, so it's kind of crazy, yeah.
Okay.
And it's usually like at a female clothing store, which, why am I in a female clothing store, you might ask?
Yeah.
I don't have a solid answer for you on that, I just kind of hang out there. Hi guys. Yes, okay, that's cool? Okay, awesome. Alright. Alright, yeah. Thank you guys.
So, hey Leute, es ist jetzt fast 24 Stunden her, dass ich zu dem Buffy Fan-Treffen Dingsbums gefahren bin. Ich bin jetzt auch ganz schön K.O. Es lag jetzt natürlich nicht daran, dass ich 24 Stunden fast unterwegs war wegen dem Treffen, sondern auch, weil mein lieber Crash heute seinen letzten Kampf hatte und weil meine liebe Stelly in ihren Geburtstag reingesungen hat. Und wir jetzt eben halt erst wieder in Mannheim ankamen. Aber ja, 4 Stunden wieder aufstehen. Morgen geht's weiter. Ich wollte jetzt trotzdem kurz berichten. Also es war eigentlich ziemlich cool. Es war eine ziemlich intime Atmosphäre, waren nicht so viele Leute da. Sorry, dass ich mich nicht von dort direkt gemeldet habe, aber es war irgendwie schon so ein bisschen aufregend. Ich habe mich vor James Marsters, also Spike, angestellt wie so ein kleines Kind. Ich war eigentlich relativ gelassen, bis ich dann vor ihm stand und das Foto machen wollte. Und dann stand ich einfach nur da, ja, hallo, ich bin Nathalie und ja. Und auf einmal weiß ich irgendwie gar nichts mehr und ich habe das Foto gemacht und ich wollte eigentlich ihn fragen, ob er mit mir eine bestimmte Pose macht und das habe ich aber gar nicht mehr hingekriegt. Ich war schon irgendwie in Trance und Chuck war es schon vorbei und naja, habe dann auch ein bisschen gezittert, also echt wie so ein blödes Teenie-Mädchen, also voll peinlich. Mich hinterher auch total geärgert und ja, was ein bisschen krass war der Nicholas, also der Xander, der einfach während seiner Rede dann aufgestanden ist, kurz getanzt hat und dann weggegangen ist und die nächste Rede mit ihm ist dann auch ausgefallen und zur Autogrammstunde kam er etwas zu spät. Ja, hinterher kam er wohl mit einer Pulle dann zurück. Ja, das waren so die Ereignisse heute und jetzt geht's ins Bett. Gute Nacht.